You know, recently I got the chance to, well, not got the chance, but my brother hit me up to let me know that my mom was very sick and she faces the possibility of dying. And I went through a myriad of emotions. Like, I was angry, I was judgmental, and I was all these things. But ultimately, I came to peace and was just like, what did I learn from that? Like, I didn't have the best relationship with my mother. Excuse me. I am a product of a crack addict, and that came with so much, torment. Like, I was in and out of crack houses by the time I was 2, 3, 4 years old. And I wasn't able to stay with my mom because it got so bad to where she wasn't coming home. And it just got pretty bad. But despite all that, all I ever wanted was my mother. And we went through a turbulent time. Like, we had a very turbulent relationship, as many could only just imagine. And the things that I saw, the things that I was a part of, and things that I didn't even ask for. What I will say is that it's okay now. Like, I wasn't able to be there for my mother how the way she wanted to. Like I said, she is an addict, and she kept asking me for money, and I'm giving her money, and I never asked my mom to give it back. Like, I wasn't one of those type of kids that'd be like, oh, you borrowed the money, you need to give it back, and da-da-da, you owe me. Like, I just never did that. If my mom asked me for something, if I can give it to her, I would give it to her. I would order her favorite foods, like Red Lobster, stuff like that. And that was in the beginning of this year. My mom lost mobility in her legs, and I believe she even got them recently cut off because they were so bad. And now she's also lost mobility in her arms. And they say that she had a staph infection, and I just wasn't able to go see her. Like, I went up to the hospital, I got this beautiful arrangement. Like, I had a whole plan to go in there and communicate with her, give her some good words, let her know that though she lived a lot of her life in hell, basically, now is the time for you to be in peace. Like, God is trying to grant you peace as you're going out, and you shouldn't fear death, because your body is transcending into a bigger purpose. And the reason why I say that is, even from a scientific standpoint, the conscious energy can never be destroyed. Like, energy can never be destroyed. It can only be transferred. And when I think about the things that my mother has done, whether it be good or bad, it transferred in another way. People were touched by it, whether it was negative or positive, and we all learned from it. Even from her sickness and her illness as she's leaving out this earth, possibly leaving off of this earth, should I say. The doctors even learned something, and they now know how to treat blood diseases and things like that, because for the longest time they didn't even know what was going on with her. And even for me, the hardship that I had with my mother, it taught me so much to where I'm a great mother with my children, and I don't take them for granted. I love on them. I spend time with them. I make sure I communicate with them. I help them with their homework and teach them so many things. And I have a different rapport with my children than she had with me. It's just different, like, I'm happy that I went through what I went through, and I'm glad that I went through those emotions, because when I was angry, I was like, okay, that's enough of being angry. Like, what did you learn from that? I don't want to just stay angry, because it just didn't seem right that my mom is sick, she's dying. Nobody deserves to go out feeling like shit. Like, nobody deserves to die feeling like, you hate them, or feeling like they're hated and no one can stand them. Like, no one deserves to feel that way. And when I went to the hospital, I knew, like, I had every intention, like, you're going to be positive, you're going to give her all these words of affirmation, you're going to definitely just speak on her spirit and just uplift her with all these things. And when I got there, like right before I got there, my son ends up bending my entire finger back and it's coming off. Like half of my finger is off. My fingernail is off. And when I get there, her whole room is just closed off. And I think to myself, I'm like, you don't know exactly how to handle what this is. Like, I don't know how to handle a staph infection. I know that it is contagious. And I saw that there were gowns right there, but I'm like, I don't know exactly what else am I supposed to do? Like, and when I go to the station, I'm just trying to ask, because I was just going to throw the gown on and go inside the room, but I would have been completely wrong. You know what I'm saying? So I actually go to the nurses station and I asked them, I'm like, what am I supposed to what am I supposed to do when I go inside the room? She was like, oh, you're supposed to dress up, you have to put gloves on, and you have to make sure you're wearing a face mask. And then I told her, well, I said, okay. And I was about to get ready to go, and she goes, no, but you also have to wash your hands very well when you get out of the room. And I said, but I can't wash my hands. Like, I can't take this Band-Aid off. My nail is coming off and it hurts. And she was like, well, you can't go in there. And then if you can't wash your hands, I advise that you just do not go in there, because what she has is extremely contagious. And I said, okay. So I was like, okay, so like, what am I supposed to do? She said, well, I just advise that you don't go in there, but we can give her the flowers for you. Like, would you like for me to tell her your name? And I'm like, okay. I was like, it was just such a bad situation. Like, I felt bad, but in the end, I'm like, this is some bullshit. Like, in a way, I know that it was bullshit, but I've been chasing my mom all my life. Like, I've literally been chasing and trying to get to her and just trying to spend that quality time with her. And I've always wanted that from her, but she just never gave that to me. And now that she's passing away, like, I really just feel like, in a way, that the Bible is real. Like, what he says about how your last of days are going to go and how you're going to spend your life in hell, that truly does happen. And I felt bad because I'm like, why do I get to live my life pretty much happy, most of the time? Why do I get to live my life where most of the time I'm pretty okay, And I'm very blessed. Like, I cannot stress this enough. Like, in so many different ways, I have the love of my children. I have a great relationship with them. I'm getting the job opportunities that I asked for. I'm establishing great relationships with the people that I interact with on a regular. Like, I have a great life. And I think about my mom, and she never had the chance to have that. And it wasn't so much as anyone else's fault, more than it was that it was her own fault. Like, she made some very poor decisions, and that's what I had to think about. I'm like, you chased her your entire life. You wanted her your entire life. She didn't really care, and now you're in this situation where you have to choose, finally, once and for all, if it's going to be you versus her, if it's your life over her life. And I've always, sacrificed so much and tried to make her happy, and I could never do so. And now, while she's sick, this is all she wants, and I can't even give her what she wants because it's just this huge barrier between us. Her sickness is a barrier. And it's real. Like, if you spend your days being crazy and living wrong, and all that stuff will add up, and 1 + 1 will equal 2 at the end of the day. And I just pray that, for me, that God just continuously keeps this steady hand on my life, and that he continuously keeps guiding myself and my children and keeps on blessing us. Like, we're so blessed just from the interactions that we have, from the lifestyle that we live, from the things that we're learning and the things that we appreciate. Like, life is just pretty good to us all the way around for the most part. There are some bad things in there, but honestly, it never lasts for too long. So, excuse me. Yeah, I would just say, make sure you love on your family when you can. Make sure you're doing right by your family. It's not about the dollar amount. Like, I say that, And I halfway mean it because we do need money in order to survive. Like, it only makes sense, but try to make sure you're squeezing in that time where you're just hugging on your kids, and try to make sure that they matter, and make sure you're speaking to them and communicating with them adequately, and not jumping to conclusions and things like that. Like, my mother put me through a lot, and it was hard. And I guess that's partially why I'm probably like a decent mom towards my kids. And for the most part, like, I really am a decent mom. I'm very attentive to their needs, and I try to make sure I'm in alignment with my kids on a regular basis. So I think mostly, like, I would just advise to anyone, love on your loved ones when you can. Like, even, you know, for my family, like my extended family, I don't talk to them. And, you know, things, because of my mother and her siblings' choices to be addicts, it raised dysfunctional children, and we don't get along very well, you know. Like, my brother, he doesn't have any type of like reasoning skills. Like, he was in and out of prison and things like that, and I know that that had everything to do with my mom, like the decisions that she made, and it affected him, you know. So I know people be like, oh, he's grown, and there's just some ignorance that's so ingrained in some people that if you torment them and put them through so much shit as a child, they don't sometimes know how to be right. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't know how to think right, and they don't know how to think adequately. So, like, my brother, he did something that was extremely stupid to me. Like, he called me to tell me all this stuff was going on with my mom, and when I go to call him back, he blocked me. I'm like, why did you even call me? And then he calls me back, and I'm like, a part of me, I initially was just going to ignore the phone call, and of course he calls, did you go see mom? Well, that's not really your thing to do. You don't have to check up on me to see if I went to go see mom. You don't have to try to pressure me to go see mom. Like, that's not your thing to do, and you're not gonna make me feel bad about it. Like, I went up there, I tried to go see her, it just wasn't a feasible option, and I honestly have to start thinking about me, because ain't nobody else gonna think about me, you feel me? Like, even my own brother, the last time I spoke to him, this is why we don't talk to each other now, this fool done started beef with all his homeboys from his hood, and these fools started following me on Instagram and things like that. And when I told him about it, he said, well, that's your business. Like, bro, you can miss me, I'm good. Oh, that's your problem, and I'm gonna get mom's insurance money when she die. Like, he was just on some stupid shit. Like, I can't deal with that from him and my mom. They done conjured up so much bullshit together, and it kind of just led her to where she's at. I made my peace with it. There's nothing else I can do, and I'm gonna just leave it at that. So it is what it is. I'm not angry, I'm not bitter. I'm happy, like, in my day-to-day life on a regular. I'm about to get back to doing my homework, go back to cleaning up my house, and just get back to my normal schedule. Like, I don't want to fall apart over this. Like, I don't want to, I've wasted and spent so much of my life trying to cater to my mom and spend time and try to understand my brother, but I just don't understand them, and that's okay. Like, I made different decisions for my brother and my mother, and they chose to live that life, and now they dealing with it. So it is what it is, you know. Even earlier this year, I tried to help my mom out, and she just didn't want my help. She wanted me to do what she wanted me to do, give her money, and, you know, basically support her drug addiction. And I didn't, and I chose not to be a part of that, and that's why she here, you know. So y'all stay blessed. Make sure you love on your people in the right way, and that's it.